Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Choosing Beggars Storytime. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I would love to have you here. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Story number 1, called Underpaid Tutor. Posted by user Scarlet444. I'm a certified teacher now, but a few years back, before I got my teaching degree, I worked as a private tutor. And one time I met this woman who asked me to tutor her son. She said she couldn't pay much, $3 a class, but I agreed because I needed the money. Later I realized she was a wealthy woman, a lawyer, and the daughter of a politician. Well, she never mentioned her son had learning issues, which wasn't the problem at all. The problem was the boy's attitude. He was 12 at the time. Whenever I arrived for the classes, he hid his books or locked himself in the bathroom. One time I ended up tracking him down the house. Turns out he was hidden behind a couch. Other times he truly didn't have his books, so I had to call his mom to ask her to bring the book. I tutored him at his uncle's house, which was near his school. Anyway, his mom said she was busy and couldn't take the books to us, so we should work with what we had. So I had to improvise, exercises on a piece of paper, and I pretty much beg him to do them. This happened every week for like a year. So one day I decided, stupid me, to carry his books every time we had classes so that we would always have them. By then, the mom had asked me to tutor her other 2 younger children, a boy and girl. Nothing compared to the older one, but a story for another day. Anyway, years passed, constantly underpaid, had to remind her every month of the payment and received it with delays. Working extra hours, no appreciation for anything, and by the end of the year, the boy fails the exam. She tells me it's my fault because I'm a bad teacher, and she doesn't want me to tutor her children anymore, which later backfired when her younger children got both A on their tests. This year, I assume after trying several teachers for her oldest son, she asked me to come back and teach him. Nope. I recommended a friend and warned her what she was getting herself into. She ain't happy either, but she needs the money. Story number 3, called Homeless Guy Takes Me to 7-Eleven, Snacks Out with His Rack Out, and Foots a Teenager with the Bill. Posted by user PSCLE. Just found this subreddit and have been lurking and laughing out loud for a bit now. Thought I'd share an experience with a choosing beggar I had a few years ago when I was in school. At the time, I was about 16 and on my way home from work at a coffee shop. I was let off earlier than usual and in a great mood, minding my own business, walking towards the train when I was approached by this homeless guy who was one of the choosiest beggars I've ever met and sincerely a dick. Meth scabs, no shirt, open zip-up hoodie, you get the drift. He says, "Hey man, I'm trying to raise $25 to get into a hostel for tonight. I'm cold. Any chance you have some change?" Keep in mind, I'm a young girl, and while we live in Canada, it was like a tropical 15 degrees Celsius. But I was having a great day and figured I'd pay it forward. I told the guy I wouldn't give him any cash, but I would buy him a meal. The station had a large convenience store with a Subway, etc., like 10 feet away. He took me inside and immediately started ransacking the shelves. Didn't say a word, just started pulling things at random. A family-sized bag of chips here, I shit you not, a gallon of strawberry milk, a handful of chocolate bars, whatever. I could mentally see the bill racking up, and as a full-time secondary student, I got a little nervous as I was thinking like a sub meal or something would tide this guy over. I sheepishly tell this guy that he had quite a lot of snacks and that I was a young student and didn't have a lot of money. I had my wallet in my hand, counting what I had on me. He sees it, eyes a bill, and says to me, "Oh, you have a 20, yeah, I'll take that instead," and holds out his hand for me to give it to him. "Yeah, buddy, I think the fuck not." I just kind of stuttered and told him no. He rolled his eyes and dumped all his goodies onto the cashier's desk and has it rung through. The total was about $25, and I paid almost in tears. Choosing Beggar walks away without another word. The cashier shakes his head and tells me that this guy hangs outside pulling this shit pretty regularly. I was pretty upset, so I got my tomato ass out of there and on my way out to see this cat asshole of a person begging from other young girls outside. TLDR, homeless dude asked me for money. I try and be a good dude, and he walks all over my Canadian ass and racks up a snack bill stoned me could only dream of. If this happened to me today, I would put my foot down more and tell him no, but I was young and anxious and just trying to do something good. I still see this guy 5 years later lurking around, and I always tell him to beat it when I see him pressuring some young or nervous. I whisk them away immediately, lest they be taken advantage of by that smelly pilgrim. In the end, at least I got to warn my friends about his punk ass. Turns out he approached a friend of mine and her mom in a McDonald's drive-thru. Just like me, they said they would get him food instead, and when they pulled out with a Big Mac meal, he just dips off into the sunset, LMAO. Same guy years later with my manager. Manager procures pizza next door and hands him a full pie. Guy says he doesn't like pepperoni and can he get a refund? Yup. Story number 4 is called Just Left a Choosing Beggar Dinner, posted by user Normal Nobody. A friend of a mutual friend is moving to California. I don't really know the guy that well, but I know him enough that he chose to invite me. Plus, besides him and my mutual friend, I didn't really know anyone else he invited. We went to the Olive Garden, about 7 of us total. That's where the guy wanted to go. Wasn't my choice. While waiting, my friend and I figured we'd split a bottle of wine when we got to the table. We were splitting our own check, and one of the people there was known to be a choosing beggar, and a little inappropriate at times. Anyway, we asked if anyone wanted to go in on said bottle, and everyone, including choosing beggar, said no. Mind you, a bottle of wine can typically yield 4 glasses. We sit, order, wine comes, it's good. Choosing beggar perks up. Hey, can I have a glass? My friend and I look at each other, and I said, well, if you're willing to come in on the bottle, sure. He says, I'm not buying a whole bottle just for a glass. My friend starts laughing his head off at that. I told him a bottle only holds 4 glasses, so if he takes an entire glass, he's taking a quarter of the bottle. Then I brought up the fact that when it was offered to split among everyone, he said he didn't like wine. I was more than happy to give him a taste. Then he tries to say that's what he meant, a taste. A glass of wine is a taste now? Okay. I offer him a taste of mine. He immediately almost spit it back out into the glass. Thank God he didn't. Spilled some though and said, oh my God, so loudly. That's disgusting. Spilled some though and said, oh my gosh, so loudly. That's disgusting. Now the waiter is talking to us. My friend is almost on the ground laughing. Some help he is. Everyone is staring at us. The people we were with think we're nuts, and I just wish that chair would sink into the floor. Thank God that choosing beggar didn't get his way for him to waste the glass and still not pay. And our last story for today is called Choosing Beggar Asking for More Money After I Had Given Her Everything in My Wallet, posted by user underscore my username underscore underscore. So this happened about 3 years ago. As a side gig, I used to teach dance classes. My pay was dependent on how many drop-ins showed up to one class. I usually averaged around $20 to $30 per class. One of my classes unexpectedly had a great turnout, and I got paid $80 for that day. I was really happy, not just because of pay, but mainly because of the turnout. I love teaching, and my friends and I decided to get some food after. As we were walking into the restaurant, a lady approached me. She told me that she had driven from Sacramento in a hurry. This was in LA, because she received a call that her mom living in LA was in the hospital. In her rush to get here, she had forgotten her purse at home and didn't have money for a hotel. She beckoned me to follow her to her minivan and showed me her kids and said they were all hungry and cold. It was pretty obvious she was lying about the hospital, but I was in a good mood and she didn't look like she needed the money more than I did. As I mentioned before, I wasn't expecting the money I got from class that day too, so I took it as a sign and gave her all the class money in my wallet and then some, about $90. She didn't even say thank you. She had the audacity to ask me for even more money, even after she had seen that I had literally taken all the money in my wallet and given it to her. She said she needed $60 more to get a hotel and asked me to go to the ATM inside 7-Eleven. This infuriated me, and I started questioning her about her situation. Why doesn't she go to her bank? How did she stop for gas during the drive? Why doesn't she ask her mom or nearby family members for money? Why couldn't she stay at the hospital until daylight? What kind of expensive-ass hotel was she trying to book? How about she return the money and I book the hotel for her? She stumbled with all my questions. I refused to give her any more money, and she curtly said thank you and glared at me as if I had done something wrong. I was so mad, and I still get heated thinking about it. I wasn't starving back then, but I was in college and by no means wealthy, and could have really used the money I had given her. The audacity of some people. Wow. After hearing these stories, I feel very grateful for the day that I had. I haven't ran into any choosing beggars so far. So let's hope that it stays that way. And don't forget to like and subscribe and join me tomorrow for more Reddit content. Bye!